Rock and Roll 101. Welcome to Brant B Guitar. Please subscribe to the channel, click the link below, and if you have any questions or comments, you can leave those below. I have an awesome electric guitar beginning lesson today, so let's go right into it and talk about the parts on the electric guitar. So the electric's a little bit different than the acoustic, one of the main things being that it may slip a little bit in your right thigh. You can also use a guitar strap when you first start. That'll limit the slipping, so it's just going to sit right like this in your right thigh. Now the other thing, you're going through an amp, you have two tone knobs and a volume knob. I'd probably keep all of those all the way to the right at 10 when you first start. Now if you have a Strat like me, these are called guitar pickups. So these are this is picking up your sound. You have 3 single coil pickups on the Strat guitar. So let's talk about your pickup selector and what each position does. So when it's all the way up towards your face, you're using this pickup. This is where the sound is getting picked up. When it's one above that, it's these two in combination. One more, you're in the middle position. One more, these two are in combination. One more, you're at the bridge pickup. So all of these selections create different sounds. Let me just give you an example. If it's all the way down, a harsher kind of sound. So it's open to interpretation what you want to use. For now, I'm just going to keep this in the middle. Parts of the guitar: your bridge, pickups, frets. Truss rod is going to be going in the neck of the guitar. That's a metal rod. We'll talk about that in another lesson for how to make adjustments on your guitar. This is the neck. This is the nut where the strings sit. And then you have your tuning pegs. So when playing the electric guitar, you're going to need a cable to plug into an amp. And I have this nice coily cable here. Of course it's orange. All right, let's go right into the lesson and learn some basic chords. Today's going to be about the power chords, but we're going to learn 2 basic chords that will lead into power chords. So let's go over the string names on the guitar. There are 2 E strings. This is the low E string, and this is the high E string. The next string is the A string, the D string, the G string, the B string, and again the high E string. What you can do is start playing games with yourself. Where are the E's? Where's the G? Where's the A? Where's the D? How do you play the G, B, and high E together? So you can get creative with it and create your own examples. The other thing is you're probably going to want some sort of tuner. I really personally like snark tuners. They're good, they just can clip on and they pick up the vibration. There's also apps, and there's also pedals for tuning your guitar. It really just depends on what you want to use. And we'll go really in depth on tuning in another lesson, because tuning is an art form. Okay, onto the D major chord, your first chord. What you're going to do with your right hand, you're playing 4 strings: the D, the G, the B, and the high E. The D string is going to remain open. An open string means you're not fretting anything. The index finger is going to go on the 2nd fret of the G string. Ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B. Middle finger on the 2nd fret of the high E. Those 4 strings are going to go together like this. Now if you're doing this chord when you first start, it's all about getting on the tips of the fingers. What might happen is something like this. It's all about adjusting your fingers to getting on the tips. Another thing you can do is you can take this shape. I'm only going to play 3 strings here, the G, B, and high E. And a good exercise is to move that shape up 1 position at a time. So on and so forth. Now, where the fingers are located, you just want to be a little bit behind the fret wire. You never want to be on it. Let's go into your next chord, E major. All 6 strings. Now, the middle finger is going to be on the A string on the 2nd fret. Ring finger on the 2nd fret of the D. Index finger on the 1st fret of the G. Again, if something like this happens where you're getting muting, something's muted, it's all about the tips. It's all in the tips. Now, another thing you may notice is that The middle finger is going to be farther away in the box and the middle finger is a little bit closer. That's totally normal. There's no way around that. So you can practice those two chords. The reason I chose D major and E major is because we're playing electric guitar and we're going to learn some power chords. So what is a power chord? If you play your D major chord, if you play those first two strings, in music, there's something called an interval. An interval is the distance between two notes. This is an interval of a fifth. Think of Wizard of Oz. Oh-wee-oh, oh-wee-oh. Remember that monkey scene? Anybody? Now, what that means is this is called, a power chord is really a fifth chord. So they're synonymous. They mean the same thing. That's called a D power chord or a D5, which I'm going to show you in a second. You can also play here. If you go to your E chord, E major, and you play the first three, or two, doesn't matter, that again is the interval of the fifth. And it creates that powerful kind of sound, hence it's called a power chord. So let's learn a new shape on the guitar where most rock bands and all styles of music use these shapes. It's electric guitar 101, people. Let's do this in the key of G. So this is a G note. You're going to put your index finger here, 3rd fret of the low E, ring finger on the 5th of the A string. And you're just going to play these two notes. Again, that has that interval of a fifth, so it's either a G5 chord or a G power chord, same thing. Now when you first start, your fingers may not want to stretch that far. So what you can do is you can take your right hand and let's say you're not stretching, you can just pull that ring finger to stretch. Another great thing when you first start is just doing the notes individually. Okay, then you can move the shape up one at a time. This is a great exercise. You can also come back the other way. You get the idea. Now another tip when you're doing this is I hit it and then I release all of the pressure and you just glide to the next chord. So that means you don't have to take your hands off and then readjust. So you're already on the strings, let go of the tension, and you just glide to the next one. So you can also do this on the following string set on the A and the D string. That's going to look like this. Now when you're doing this, you're looking for a clean sound. Again. So on and so forth. So experiment with this. You can try these on the E and the A string, and also the A and the D string. So let's make this power chord a little bit more challenging and a little bit, it'll sound a little bit fuller here. So we're going to add the pinky now. Back to the original chord you're using, the G5, the pinky is going to go on the D string on the 5th fret. And you're going to play the low E, the A, and the D with your right hand. Sounds a little bit fuller. It's still called a G power chord or a G5 chord. Because if you think about it, we'll do a little bit of theory here. It's called a 5 chord because remember at the beginning of the video, here's an interval of a fifth. Now we're adding an octave, which it's the same note as the first note, G to G. So really, if you think about it, there's only 2 notes, meaning 2 letter notes. There's really 3 notes, but you have a G, a D, and a G. G and D. So this shape may be a little bit harder. Another thing with this shape is the pinky starts to find a home in between that ring finger. It's not an exact science, but it kind of just slips underneath. Again, you can take the right hand and adjust the fingers if need be. So let's take that shape and move it up one at a time. Again, releasing the tension, moving up. You can do it. Reverse it. This is your guitar workout. Let's do it on the other string set. Now you're going to add the G string in. A, D, G. Same shape. Guitar is an instrument of shapes. There it is. Now the final stage of this, another way to play these shapes, it gets a little bit more complex. And this is with the ring finger now. And the ring finger is going to bar the A and the D. Now this is too challenging, don't worry about it. A lot of players prefer playing it like this. I'm just giving you another option. Now, first, a way to practice your barring is just to take your ring finger and set it down over, I'd probably start at the 3rd fret, over the B and the high E. And you're just trying to, what you have to do is pinch. I don't know if you see that arch right there. That's what you're looking for. It's hard to explain. It's a feel thing. So you don't want it like that. You want, create that valley there. Ring finger valley. There you go. New term. So that's the feel of it, and you take that idea and you bring it over here. So we're just going to hit these 3 strings. And you can reverse it. Now it also is an art form of connecting the hands when you first start. So if I were you, I'd recommend you're keeping your focus and awareness on your left hand and your right hand. So you don't want to just be all over your left hand. When I teach beginner students, that's one of the main things that I notice is there's no right hand awareness or left hand. It's kind of like one or the other. But mostly the right hand isn't being paid attention to. So you can bob your head back and forth. In time, you'll just be able to feel it and you won't have to think about it. Also, in terms of strumming, another thing you do is mute the strings. Doesn't matter where you do it. Literally, I'm just placing my hand over 0% pressure. It's just resting there. And with the right hand, just strumming 3. And you want to just glide. When you first start, you may get caught because you're just not used to strumming. You can kind of hit 3, and then come back up. 3, come back up. 3, come back up. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. If we do a quick recap of what you did, started with the D chord, the E major chord, talked about what a power chord is, the interval of the 5th, then went into some power chords on the other string set, then also adding in the pinky, then barring. Well, also, power chords are great because it's in every rock song, and I'm just going to give you an example right here. Some classic Led Zeppelin. So if you see that shape, how about some Nirvana? It's in everything. Black Sabbath. When you first start playing guitar, the tips of your fingers are going to hurt. Don't worry about it. Keep pushing through it. Over time, you will develop calluses, but practicing these power chords should help. I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson, and this is Brant B Guitar signing off, and remember to subscribe to the channel, and if you have any comments or want to learn a song, please post below. Have a good day.